Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash. Today is Wednesday, February 15th, 2023, and I am here to go over the 10-game slate happening in the NBA tonight. If you're new to the channel, if you would hit the like button and then hit subscribe, and after you've done those two things, if you would hit the alarm bell, that will let you know when our newest podcast has gone live. If you're new to DFS Coach Talk, you can join us at dfscoachtalk.com. We have memberships that start as low as $3 for 3 days, so we would love to have you join us. We're a very family-friendly and encouraging group of community, and we'd love to have you join us. So with that being said, let me go ahead and take a look at the comments real quick before we get started. Hey, David Dulac, how's it going? Dead Presidents and Aloysius, glad to have you guys here, and I'm sure some more will be joining us shortly. So let's go ahead and get right into it, starting with the 7 p.m. Eastern game between the Chicago Bulls and the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers are favored by 3. This game has a 231.5 over-under. The Bulls have quite a few injuries that they're dealing with. Caruso and Dragic are both questionable. Of course, Lonzo Ball and Javonte Green are still out, as well as Derek Jones Jr. and DeMar DeRozan. That's the big one. He's out for the Bulls tonight. For the Pacers, they have most of their guys, but 2 of their bigs, both Miles Turner and Daniel Theis, are questionable. So could be some value here for the Pacers if those guys don't play. For the Bulls, we have a projected starting lineup with Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, Nikola Vucevic. For the Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Buddy Hield, Aaron Naismith, and then Miles Turner is listed as projected to start, but he is questionable, so we'll have to see if he's going to play. For the Bulls, without DeRozan, you've got LaVine and Vucevic are the 2 main guys that will benefit the most from that. Vucevic is 9,200 on DraftKings, 8,600 on FanDuel, $35 on Yahoo. He's averaged 46.2 DraftKings points in his last 5 games against Indiana, and the Pacers have allowed the 5th most fantasy points to centers this year. Then you have LaVine. He's probably the biggest beneficiary. With DeRozan out of the lineup, he's 8,500 on DraftKings, 7,600 on FanDuel. I like that price, and $33 on Yahoo. It's pretty decent as well. With LaVine, with DeRozan out of the lineup, LaVine has averaged 48.3 DraftKings points per game this year, so he is in a really good spot. The Pacers have allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to small forwards, and then we also have Kobe White. He is projected to start at shooting guard, and he's 4,000 on DraftKings, 4,200 on FanDuel, $10 on Yahoo. So they're moving LaVine to small forward for DeRozan, and they're moving Kobe White into the starting lineup where LaVine usually is. So the Pacers have allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to shooting guard, so it's a good spot for Kobe White for some value. And then on the Pacers side, you've got the plays that I like the most. Buddy Hield, 6,400 on DraftKings, 6,800 on FanDuel, $24 on Yahoo. He did have 46.8 DraftKings points against the Bulls on January 24th. He's averaged 35.3 DraftKings points the last 5 times that he's faced Chicago. Then we have, and we'll get into ownership later, but a chalky play in Benedict Mathurin. He's 4,800 on DraftKings, 5,000 on FanDuel, $15 on Yahoo. And then if Theis and Miles Turner are both out, then you have Isaiah Jackson. He's only 3,600 on DraftKings, 4,500 on FanDuel, and $11 on Yahoo. So those are the plays from this game that I'm looking at. Next game we have, it's also at 7 p.m. Eastern, the Charlotte Hornets hosting the San Antonio Spurs. Charlotte is favored by 7. This game has the highest over-under on the slate, I believe, at 243.5. I'm hard to imagine one being higher than that. 243.5, highest on the slate. So for the Spurs, Khem Birch, Trey Jones, Romeo Langford, Isaiah Roby, and Devin Vassell are all out. For the Hornets, Cody Martin, Kelly Oubre Jr., and Kai Jones, or those 2 are out, and Kai Jones is questionable. For the projected starting lineup, you have for the Spurs, Malachi Branham, Keita Bates-Diop. They have starting at shooting guard. That's interesting. Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, and Zach Collins. For the Hornets, LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, and Mark Williams. On the Spurs side, I don't play him very often, but I do like Keldon Johnson tonight. He's 6,600 on DraftKings. It's that and Yahoo, where he's $24, are my two favorite spots for him. He's 7,400 on FanDuel, so he's a little pricey over there. But the Hornets have allowed the fifth most fantasy points to small forwards this year, and he has 45.8 and 47 DraftKings points the last two times he's faced the Hornets. So it has been a pretty good matchup for Keldon Johnson. And then we have the Hornets, who have allowed the most fantasy points to centers. So we have Zach Collins, 5,100 on DraftKings, 6,400 on FanDuel, and $18 on Yahoo. So once again, DraftKings and Yahoo, the best spot for Collins. But he is supposed to be pretty chalky, but it is a really good spot against the Hornets. So for the Hornets, LaMelo Ball, he's 10-4 on DraftKings, 9,900 on FanDuel, $41 on Yahoo. He's averaged 55.7 DraftKings points in his last three games. The Spurs have allowed the fifth most fantasy points to point guards this year, so he's in a really good spot. Same thing for Terry Rozier, who's cheaper. He's about 3,000 or almost 3,000 cheaper on DraftKings at 7,500. He is 7,700 on FanDuel and $31 on Yahoo. San Antonio's allowed the most fantasy points to shooting guards this year, and he has scored. Rozier has scored 40+ DraftKings points in 4 of his last 5 games. He had 47 in his last game against the Hawks on Monday. And then we have at center, Mark Williams. The Spurs have allowed the second most fantasy points to center. So you have the team that's allowed the most and the second most amount of fantasy points to centers this year. So should be a good matchup for both Collins and Williams. Williams is 5,300 on DraftKings, 5,700 on FanDuel, and $17 on Yahoo. Take a look at the chat. Yeah, man, let's do it, Mr. Double D. All right, we've got the Knicks and the Hawks at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta is favored by 3.5. It has a 233 over under. For the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson is still out, and then for the Hawks, looks like John Collins is participated in the shoot around, so he'll probably play. And then DeAndre Hunter is listed as probable. So the Hawks should be, full strength basically. Projected starting lineup we have for the Knicks: Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Jericho Sims. For the Hawks, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and Clint Capella. My favorite plays in this game: Julius Randle, 9,900 on DraftKings, 9,300 on FanDuel, $44 on Yahoo. He's scored 52.3 and 69.3 DraftKings points in his last 2 games against the Hawks, and Atlanta has allowed the third most fantasy points to power forwards this year. I also like Josh Hart. He's been looking pretty good. He's scored 36.6 DraftKings points so far, just 2 games, small sample size, but it looks like a good fit for him in New York. 5,700 on DraftKings, 5,900 on FanDuel, and $20 on Yahoo. My favorite play on the Hawks is DeJounte Murray. He's 8,400 on DraftKings, 8,500 on FanDuel, $33 on Yahoo. He has 2 different 60 DraftKings points games against the Knicks this year, 62 and 67.5. So I like DeJounte Murray. A little bit of a pay up, but mid 8s, not too bad. But I do like Murray in this spot. Next game, we have what should be the most lopsided game of the night. The Boston Celtics hosting the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons have Marvin Bagley and Nerlens Noel out. For the Celtics, they do look like they're going to get Jason Tatum back. Robert Williams is questionable. I'm thinking he's probably not going to play, it looks like. So we'll have to wait and see on that. And then Derek White, I know he did have Like he had some kind of an issue with his hearing after the game last night in Milwaukee, but he is listed as probable, so I would expect him to be in the lineup. So they also get Marcus Smart back tonight, so that's a big deal for them. And then Jaylen Brown is still out, and Gallinari, of course, is out. Kevin Gelly and Mike Muscala is also out tonight. For the Pistons, their starting lineup is projected to be Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey, Bojan Bogdanovic, Isaiah Stewart, and Jalen Duren. For the Celtics, Marcus Smart, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and if he plays, Robert Williams. With this game projected to be such a lopsided game, I don't have a whole lot of interest in it. I was very impressed with Boston last night, how they were able to hang around without all those guys in there. It was pretty remarkable. And I think they'll take care of Detroit pretty easily, especially with Tatum back. I do like Tatum. He had 60.3 DraftKings points against the Pistons last Monday. He's expensive. He's 11-2 on DraftKings, 10-8 on FanDuel, $48 on Yahoo. He's averaged 56 DraftKings points per game without Jaylen Brown, so you definitely have to look at him as your pay-up options. Derek White has been playing phenomenal. His price has come up. He's $7,000 on both DraftKings and FanDuel, $25 on Yahoo. Still a pretty good value over there. He had 42.8 DraftKings points against the Pistons last Monday. He's averaged 48.5 DraftKings points in his last 5 games, and the Pistons have allowed the second most fantasy points to point guards. So, yes, I know that Marcus Smart is coming back. However, he has been out for a while. I think he'll be on a minutes restriction, and so Derek White is still in play for me. I still think he can get around 40 fantasy points tonight. And at 7,000 on DraftKings and FanDuel, you're looking at right around 6x, so that's good value. Robert Williams, if he plays, he had a pretty nice game with 43.8 DraftKings points against the Pistons last Monday. I don't think he's going to play, but if he does, you can put him in your player pool as well. Next game, we have the Miami Heat at the Brooklyn Nets. This game has the lowest over-under I've seen in a long time, 211.5. Brooklyn is favored by 1. For the Heat, we have Tyler Hero is out, Nikola Jovic is out, Kyle Lowry out, Oladipo out, Yurtseven out, and Duncan Robinson is questionable. Brooklyn doesn't have anybody listed on the injury report. Short and sweet, I am fading this game 100%. So we will move on to the next game, the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Philadelphia 76ers, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. This game has another low over-under at 216.5. Cleveland is favored by 1. It's kind of surprising that Cleveland would be favored in Philadelphia, but that is the case. And a lot of that has to do with the status of Joel Embiid, who's listed as questionable. So we'll have to see if he's going to play or not. The injury report for the Cavs, we have Cedi Osman, who is listed as questionable. And then same situation for the recently acquired Danny Green. And then Ricky Rubio is also questionable. For the Sixers, Dwayne Dedmon is questionable. PJ Tucker looks like he's probable. And Furkan Korkmaz is out. So for the Cavs, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen. And the Sixers, James Harden, DeAnthony Melton, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, and Joel Embiid if Embiid plays. Once again, short and sweet, I'm fading this game. Next game at 8 p.m. Eastern, the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City is favored by 10. It has a 234.5 over-under. For the Rockets, Kevin Porter Jr. is out. For the Thunder, Pokusevski is out. Projected starting lineup for Houston, we have Jalen Green, Jayshawn Tate, Kenyon Martin Jr., and Jabari Smith Jr., Alperen Sengun. For the Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Jalen Williams, and at center, Jalen, Jaylin Williams. Nobody on the Rockets for me that I'm going to play tonight. I do like SGA. He's 10-5 on DraftKings and FanDuel, $49 on Yahoo. Houston's allowed the most fantasy points to point guards this year, and he had 66 DraftKings points against Houston on February 4th. I also like the other guard in this game with Josh Giddey for the Thunder. He's 7,900 on DraftKings, 7,800 on FanDuel, and $31 on Yahoo. He had 51 DraftKings points against the Rockets on February 4th, and the Rockets have allowed the fourth most fantasy points to shooting guards this year. Next game, the Utah Jazz at the Memphis Grizzlies, 8 p.m. Eastern. Memphis is favored by 10, has a 238.5 over-under. Rudy Gay and Lauri Markkanen are both listed as questionable. And then Zion Williamson, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Russell Westbrook, who's probably not even going to play for the Jazz, is still out. And then Steven Adams is out for the Grizzlies. So we have for the Jazz projected starting lineup with Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, Lauri Markkanen if he plays, Kelly Olynyk, Walker Kessler. For the Grizzlies, Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson, and Xavier Tillman. On this game, there's only a couple plays that I like. It's Ja Morant. He's 10-6 on both DraftKings and FanDuel, $45 on Yahoo. He's averaged 54.2 DraftKings points in his last 5 games. He did have 64 DraftKings points last time he faced Utah, which was actually last year. But it was a really nice game. So wanted to throw that in there. And then Desmond Bane, he's 7,100 on DraftKings, 8,200 on FanDuel. It's pretty expensive over there, and $29 on Yahoo. He's averaged 47.3 DraftKings points the last 3 times that he's faced the Jazz, and he had 51.5 DraftKings points on Utah, about a month ago on January 8th. The next game is going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern. The Dallas Mavericks in Denver taking on the Nuggets. Denver is favored by 4.5 as a 233.5 over under. This should be the best game on the slate from a viewer standpoint. Should be 2 really good teams here. The Mavericks are trying to ascend to the top of the West with their recent addition of Kyrie Irving. So we'll have to see how this matchup plays out. Kyrie Irving was added to the injury report late today, but he is listed as probable, so I still think he's going to play. Reggie Bullock is been upgraded to probable now, and Christian Wood is questionable. Davis Bertans, Tim Hardaway Jr., he was ruled out, and Maxi Kleba are still out. For the Nuggets, Aaron Gordon, he's questionable. Same thing with Jamal Murray. And then Connor Gillespie is still out. Same thing with Zeke Naji. And the recently acquired Reggie Jackson is out for Denver tonight. So for the Mavericks, you've got a starting lineup projected with Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Josh Green, Reggie Bullock, Dwight Powell. And then for the Nuggets, Jamal Murray, if he plays, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon if he plays, and then Nikola Jokic. My favorite plays in this game, I like Kyrie Irving. He's 10-1 on DraftKings, 9,700 on FanDuel, $44 on Yahoo. He's averaged 49.7 DraftKings points in his 4 games since joining Dallas. He's actually averaged more with Luka in the lineup at 55.5. He had 59.8 DraftKings points the last time he faced Denver. And then with Tim Hardaway Jr., I think Josh Green is in play. He's with Tim Hardaway Jr. out, I should say. He's 4,800 on DraftKings, 5,500 on FanDuel, and $14 on Yahoo. On the Nuggets side, the only player I'm really looking at is Aaron Gordon. He's 7,100 on DraftKings, 7,700 on FanDuel, $30 on Yahoo. He had 42 DraftKings points against the Mavericks on December 6th, and he scored 63.8 and 51.3 in his last 2 games. So he's been playing really well. He is listed as questionable. I don't know if he's going to play, but if he does play, he's definitely somebody to keep in mind. All right, and then the last game of the night, 10 o'clock Eastern, the New Orleans Pelicans at the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are favored by 5. It has a 235 over-under. For the Pelicans, CJ McCollum is listed as questionable. Dyson Daniels, EJ Liddell, and Zion Williamson are out. For the Lakers, looks like Anthony Davis will play, and LeBron's still questionable, so we don't know. For the projected starting lineups, we have CJ McCollum, if he plays. Then we have Brandon Ingram, Trey Murphy III, Herbert Jones, and Jonas Valanciunas. For the Lakers, Dennis Schroeder, D'Angelo Russell, LeBron, Rui, and Anthony Davis. My favorite plays in this game, assuming that CJ McCollum is out, Brandon Ingram against the former team, the Lakers. He's 8,200 on DraftKings, 8,100 on FanDuel, $33 on Yahoo. He did have 45.8 DraftKings points against the Lakers on February 4th, and he's been scoring right around that in the last couple matchups against them. So I do like Brandon Ingram. Then I like Valanciunas. He's 5,800 on DraftKings, 6,000 on FanDuel, $20 on Yahoo. He had 44.5 DraftKings points against the Lakers on February 4th. And the Lakers have allowed the fourth most fantasy points to centers this year. So good spot for Valanciunas. The only play I like on the Lakers tonight is Anthony Davis against his former team. 10-7 on DraftKings, 11,000 on FanDuel, $45 on Yahoo. He's averaged 60.3 DraftKings points in his 2 games against the Pelicans this year. He had 63.5 on February 4th, and LeBron was playing in those games. So whether LeBron plays or not, I do like Anthony Davis more tonight. So that is it for the 10-game overview. Let me go ahead and check the chat and see what questions you guys have. Travis, what's going on, man? Emerson's Baby Gap shirt. How's it going? Rose Miller. Hope everybody's doing great today. Hope everybody had a fun Valentine's Day. So let me look at that player you're talking about there. Who was it that said that about Mobley? Travis. Yeah. Let me take a look at that real quick. Because I know you'd mentioned that the other day too, and I've been trying to play it and it hasn't been on the board the last couple of days. It looks like he's gone every other day because he had 2 against the Spurs, none against the Bulls, 2 against the Pelicans, none against the Pistons, 2 against the Wizards. So if you want to keep with that trend, it would be a day to not play the block shots for Mobley. That's pretty interesting. The plays that I have for PrizePicks today, my plays are going to be Derek White, more than 33.5 fantasy score. As I mentioned, he has been he's been crushing that number lately. He's got where is he at? Celtics. 48.5 his last 5 games. So if he keeps anything around there, I think I have him projected for right around 40. So he should still be comfortably over that 33.5 number. And then SGA is going to be my other play, more than 51.5 fantasy score. I have him projected for 57 fantasy points today. Excuse me. So those are my PrizePicks plays. Let's check one last time in the chat to see if you guys have any more questions. Take a drink. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions, so we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Hope everybody has a great night tonight. As always, we will post all of our lineups and PrizePick plays in Discord, and I'll be back tomorrow. There's one last slate, one small slate before the All-Star weekend, and so hope everybody has a great night tonight, and we'll be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in NBA, DFS, and PrizePicks. Thank you.